You know that feeling when you get home from work and suddenly it's like your brain just completely shuts off? Like you walk through that door and immediately transform into a couch potato who somehow burns 3 hours scrolling through TikTok. Videos of people making tiny food for hamsters. Yeah, that was me for way too long, and honestly, it was getting a little depressing. I used to have these grand plans every morning about how productive my evening was going to be. I'd think about all the cool stuff I was going to accomplish, maybe learn guitar, read that book that's been collecting dust, or finally organize my closet that looks like a tornado hit a thrift store. But then 5:30 would roll around and boom, I'd be face down on my couch, watching the same Netflix show for the fourth time while eating cereal for dinner like some kind of sad adult child. The worst part was that weird guilt that would creep in around 10 at night when I realized I'd basically done nothing meaningful with my free time again. It's like watching your life slip away in 2 hour increments of mindless scrolling and wondering where the heck all that time went. Sound familiar? Yeah, I thought it might. So I decided enough was enough. I was tired of feeling like a zombie after work and wanted to actually feel like I was living my life instead of just surviving it. And let me tell you, what I discovered completely changed everything. These 8 things I started doing didn't just save my evenings, they literally made me feel like I got my life back. The first thing I did was create what I call the decompression ritual, and no, it's not as fancy as it sounds. Basically, I realized that I was trying to go from work mode straight into productive mode, which is like trying to shift a car from fifth gear directly into reverse. Not going to happen without some serious grinding. So instead, I gave myself permission to be completely useless for exactly 20 minutes when I got home. I'd change into my comfy clothes, make a cup of tea, and just sit there like a vegetable. The key was setting a timer because 20 minutes of planned decompression is way better than 3 hours of accidental vegetation. It's like scheduled laziness, which somehow makes it feel more acceptable to my brain. The second game changer was something I call the evening planning power hour, except it only takes 5 minutes, so the name is totally misleading. Every Sunday, I'd sit down and actually plan what I wanted to do each evening that week. Not like a strict schedule that would make my high school guidance counselor proud, but just a loose idea of what might be fun or meaningful. Monday might be guitar practice. Tuesday could be cooking something that doesn't come from a microwave. Wednesday might be calling my mom because apparently I'm a terrible son who never calls. Having this loose plan meant I wasn't standing in my living room at 6 p.m., like a confused tourist wondering what attractions this place had to offer. Third thing, and this one's going to sound weird, but I started treating my phone like it had some kind of contagious disease after work. I'd literally put it in another room or stick it in a drawer because apparently my willpower around that glowing rectangle is about as strong as a wet paper towel. The amount of time I was unconsciously spending on social media was honestly embarrassing. I'd pick up my phone to check the time and somehow end up watching a 45-minute video about how they make crayons. Not that crayon manufacturing isn't fascinating, but it wasn't exactly helping me feel fulfilled with my evening. The fourth strategy was what I like to call productive procrastination. Instead of trying to force myself to do something super meaningful right away, I'd start with tiny tasks that felt easy but still made me feel accomplished. Maybe I'd organize one drawer, water my plants, or finally put that pile of clean clothes away that had been living on my chair for 2 weeks. These little wins created momentum, kind of like how cleaning one part of your room somehow motivates you to clean the whole thing. Before I knew it, I'd be on a roll and actually wanting to tackle bigger projects. It's like tricking your brain into being productive by starting so small that failure is basically impossible. Number 5 was probably the most important one, learning to batch my mindless activities instead of spreading them throughout the evening like some kind of productivity poison. I'd give myself one specific chunk of time, maybe 30 minutes, to do all my mindless stuff at once. Check social media, watch random videos, read celebrity gossip, whatever my brain was craving. But here's the key. I'd set a timer, and when it went off, that was it. No negotiations with myself, no just 5 more minutes, nothing. It was like having a designated time to be a complete space cadet, which somehow made the rest of my evening feel more intentional. The sixth thing I started doing was creating what I call activity stations around my apartment. I'd leave my guitar out on its stand, put books in strategic locations, keep art supplies easily accessible on my kitchen table. Basically, I made it easier to do good stuff than to do mindless stuff. It's amazing how much environment affects behavior. When my guitar was buried in the closet behind a bunch of winter coats, surprise, surprise, I never played it. But when it was just sitting there looking at me every time I walked by, I'd find myself picking it up way more often. It's like setting up good habits on autopilot. Seven was learning to embrace what I call productive puttering. Sometimes you're just not going to be in the mood for anything major, and that's totally fine. Instead of forcing myself into some big project and then feeling guilty when I didn't follow through, I'd give myself permission to just putter around doing small, useful things. Maybe I'd reorganize my spice cabinet, clean out old emails, or research something random I was curious about. These activities felt more engaging than scrolling through my phone, but weren't so demanding that they felt like work. It's like the sweet spot between being a complete potato and being an overachiever. The last thing, and this one surprised me with how effective it was, involved creating what I call evening themes for different days of the week. Not rigid schedules, but just loose themes that gave my evenings some structure and something to look forward to. Monday became cooking night, where I'd try making something new. Wednesday was creative time for writing or drawing. Friday was social time for calling friends or planning weekend activities. Having these themes meant I wasn't making the same decision every single evening about what to do with my time, which apparently is exhausting for your brain. The weird thing about all these changes is that they didn't make my evenings feel more scheduled or restrictive. They actually made them feel more relaxed because I wasn't constantly battling that underlying anxiety about wasting time. When you have a loose plan and some systems in place, you can actually enjoy your downtime more because you're choosing it rather than just defaulting to it. Now, don't get me wrong, I still have evenings where I end up watching 3 hours of random YouTube videos about how different countries make their French fries. The difference is that now it feels like a choice rather than an accident, and that makes all the difference in the world. The best part is that these changes started creating a positive momentum that spilled over into other areas of my life. When you feel good about how you're spending your evenings, you wake up feeling more energized and optimistic about the day ahead. It's like this upward spiral of feeling more in control of your time and your life. So, if you're stuck in that post-work zombie mode, wondering where all your free time disappears to, try picking just one or two of these strategies and see what happens. You don't have to transform into some super productive evening warrior overnight. Just start small and see which approaches feel natural for you. Your future self will definitely thank you for reclaiming those precious evening hours and actually doing something meaningful with them, even if meaningful sometimes just means organizing your sock drawer with intention rather than scrolling mindlessly through your phone until bedtime.